some suggestions on how to work with not only the full moon that we have coming in on Monday, the 9th of March here in Australia. We have Mercury Retrograde and also the Ascension process also going along at the same time too. So there is a lot of bang for your bucks at the moment as far as energy there. It's like everything you can think of is coming at you thick and fast. So I think it's always really important to not only have the awareness that these things are occurring. Hey Jen, how are you, honey? But also knowing some really cool tools and tips and tricks to be able to help yourself through this process, because without awareness, it's really easy to get stuck in your logical head and move into the space of push, shove, force, and make shit happen. And that just, on every single level of self, just is so draining. So therefore, I really wanted to come in and be able to talk you guys through how to be able to just work with all of these different energies that are going on, to be able to understand what is the message behind the energy and each of the energies, and also give you some suggestions on things to be able to optimize this time and frame. So let's start with the first thing. The full moon. As you know, a full moon is all around surrendering, releasing, and letting things go. So in order for that to occur, we usually always find that we have past stuff come to the surface. So it's really important just to have awareness as to, are there particular patterns, are there cycles, are there emotions, are there past experiences with a person or around a situation that you have. This is when I go through and talk these things with you, I really want you to just stay really open-minded and not just target in on one specific thing, because you can find that sometimes one particular element or one particular aspect can have different layers in it. So we'll cover all of them so that we know how to work with them. So as I said, just be really conscious of some of the things that have been coming into your awareness, because they are soul guidance of messages coming through from your soul saying these are things that we would really encourage you to work on surrendering and letting them go, resolving them and transforming and transcending the energy around that. Now, Mercury retrograde, it is coming to an end. It will turn direct on March the 10th, which will be Tuesday, but it still can take anywhere up to a week or two for that to actually fully turn direct. So you're still going to have the energy of Mercury retrograde still permeating through until mid-March. So with Mercury retrograde, what it wants is for you to be able to access your truths. So this is where we have a look at, this is how we combine both the full moon and Mercury retrograde, which is the full moon is bringing things up into your awareness for you to surrender and release. But in order to be able to surrender and release them, you need to be able to be really raw and real and honest with yourself about what is the aspect about that particular thing that is triggering you. What is still stuck there? Hey Grant, how are you, hun? So let's just say, for an example, you had I'll just throw something random out there. Say you had an experience with a friend and the friendship dissolved. Think about, what was it about that dissolvency of the friendship? What was it that's still being triggered and activated for you right at this point? And really nut it down to the crux, the core element around what it is that's being brought up for you. So it could be, maybe you didn't feel like you felt good enough, or that you were worthy, or you found like you didn't have clear boundaries. Maybe you felt like that person was always taking and never giving, that you were always there for them and they weren't there for you. Really get very, very specific and clear about what it is about the things that are coming up into your awareness that are wanting to be released and transformed, to get really clear on what is the actual element about that particular person, place, situation, emotion, cycle, pattern, or action that has been brought into your awareness. Be very, very specific about what is still triggering you. So it could be things like, you could still find that you still harbor anger and resentment. You may find that you still feel deep hurt and pain, but still deep hurt and pain is still superficial. So we want to drive deeper and go, well, if you've still got hurt and pain around that old situation, what is it that's underneath that hurt and pain? So this is where we want to really break it right down. Hey Erica, hey Tommy, how are you guys? And when this is where Mercury retrograde works with you, because it's really important to be able to know at a really deep soul core level and at a truth level, and that for me is what the soul is. The soul is a truth level, and that's what Mercury retro brings into our awareness at this point, is to be really transparent, without judgment, like to just be able to say, because of this, this is how it made me feel. And sometimes it's the fact of actually owning of what's being brought up for you that can create the anger, that can be the trigger for you, because you may find, I thought I had evolved so much further along, and I didn't think I needed to keep revisiting this. But obviously there is still a layer within the situation that is being brought into your awareness at the moment that your soul is wanting you to honor. Because when, say for example, again, just using the same example, that you had a falling out with a friend, it's been triggered within you, and you find out there's, you know, as you break it down, there's some real deep core stuff still going on there. By you being able to identify what it is that is still being triggered within you, allows you to be able to be really honest with yourself. Because when you are not having that honesty, that's what's being triggered within you, because you're still getting triggered. Say for example that you still have anger there, and underneath that anger was an element that, oh, let's just throw something out there, that you felt like you weren't good enough in that friendship. That's how, when it dissolved, that's how you walked away, and that's how you felt. So think about it like, what was it? Once you can identify that brings that real honesty and truth. Whereas if you just stay in the anger zone, that's what keeps getting triggered. That's what keeps getting reactivated every single time when you think about that situation with that person. And there you get stuck, and all you do is just feeding those emotions that you want to let go in the first place, or you're so frustrated with dealing with, but that's only because you're staying in that superficial level. So Mercury retrograde encourages you to get really, really deep and clear and specific right at this point, so that when you can identify with what it is that you want to release, you can be so clear and specific, not just go, oh, I just want to, you know, let go of this anger around this situation with XYZ. You can go, I wish to, let's just using that example, like I just said, like it's a matter of that, being able to go, because when the full moon comes, there are so many really, really cool rituals that you can invoke and do. So this is where you want to be so specific and be able to say, I wish to let go of I choose to no longer feel not good enough anymore, and choose to release that on a full moon. And therefore this is where you step into your power, because you're actually owning what that situation brought up for you. You're owning your thoughts, feelings and emotions, and it's not a matter of finding a place of blame or resentment or harboring any more anger. It's about being really transparently honest with your own self, and being able to identify what is coming up for you from a space of self-exploration, learning, and through evolution of growth, by being able to identify what it is that's coming up for you, so you can surrender and let that go. That's very, very powerful, and that's taking that ownership and responsibility of going, this situation created this, but this is how I want to deal with it, which is I want to let it go once I can identify what it is, get really honest and real with me. That way we work with the full moon and Mercury retrograde and being able to really tune into it, because with the full moon, Mercury retrograde, and with like the spiritual ascension process all going on at one time, there is a massive compounding bombardment of energy coming at you. So if you try and run away and hide from these things that are coming up for you, it's only going to make matters worse. You will usually find that those emotions will therefore get stuck and trapped within your physical body, and you will start feeling aches and pains, tension, that contraction, that tension where you are protecting and guarding yourself and pushing people away as a defense mechanism, because you don't want anyone to get in, because you don't also want to let yourself into being able to be really honest about these things that are coming up. And you may find that even if you try and deny that these things are going on for you, you'll find your sleep patterns will become erratic and have nights of crazy dreaming, because our dreams are about how our unconscious mind unlocks this information for us when we are in a restful state of sleep. Restful, not really, but in a state of trying to get sleep is where you can open up that gateway for that information to come through. So there's no getting away from these emotions and these energies at the moment, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. And so therefore I think it's so, rather than create resistance, because the more that we resist, the more things persist within us. So this is that point where we can go, well, we've got two choices. We can either resist and these things can persist, and I'm only going to either, I'm going to have to deal with this shit sooner or later, because you cannot you cannot run away from your own self. Or you can take the bulls by the horn and go, you know what, let's just face this front on, and let's really get to the core or the crux of this shit, and let's just clear it and just finally once and for all get it gone. Hey Tracy, hey Kevin, how are you? So the ascension process, and what you will happen is, as you are going through this, you are going to find that you will be starting to feel lighter. You will start to have more space within your thoughts, because you can always tell when your soul wants you to let something go, because not only will you get the feels coming up. Hey Tracy, thank you so much for the gorgeous hearts. Hey Bhavana, how are you, honey? Not only will you know when your soul is bringing these things into your awareness, because you'll feel it inside of your body, you'll be consciously aware of it, your mind will start overthinking and relapsing and going back to whatever situation is that's needing to be cleared. So you'll be reliving all of that shit over and over again. So this is what I'm saying, you cannot outrun your own self at this point. You can bury your head in the sand, but it's not something that I advise, because it really does not help the situation. And you will find that you'll start to become trapped, both mentally, because you're overthinking and reliving that situation, and emotionally you will start to feel really, really physically drained within your body, because it's creating re-experiencing the whatever it is that's coming up for you. You will re-experience in that inside of your body, because your body holds and stores the memories of that experience deep into your cells. So your body will be experiencing this. But when you actually I'm not sure what MULOL means, Tracy, so you'll have to elaborate a little bit more, honey. So these will be kinds of things that you'll experience, but what you will also notice, that as you work towards clearing them, you will feel that space within your head where your mind starts to become calm. You will find yourself become more present, because when you are deep in introspective thoughts within your own self, you disassociate and disconnect from other people, and you become very much introverted within your own self. So you'll notice that as you become more clear about the things that you want to let go of, the more that you take ownership and responsibility for taking those steps to take the reins and face this shit front on, you will find space in your mind becomes clear and quiet, which is always a godsend when you're an overthinker. You will notice your breathing will start to become clearer, because when we are deep in introspection and stuff like that, we breathe from the top of our chest. Amy's had their heads in. Oh, okay, no worries. No, I understand. Sorry, Tracy. So yeah, you will find that your mind, body, soul, and spirit will start to become quieter, and therefore you'll be able to listen more into being able to tune into that intuition. So one of the things that I did want to be able to share with you, and understanding that with the spiritual ascension process, you are going to naturally feel exhausted, and also with Mercury retrograde, because what that does is that exhaustion eliminates well, not so much eliminates, but your levels of resistance decrease when your energy declines. So that's your soul's way of saying that even if you don't want to work with this, we're really going to keep ramping this up, and you're not going to be able to resist it to some degree. So this is that moment where you just completely surrender, and you usually come to that place where you're just like, just clear this shit for me. Just, I am so done with XYZ. I just want this gone. And that's where you take that personal power back and really start to transform and open up that element of, as I put out yesterday, a video with Brene Brown, you cannot have vulnerability without courage, strength, and honesty. So that when your energy levels become low, you feel more vulnerable. It opens up that doorway to the courage to be able to confront these things face on, and then be able to go, you know what, I'm fucking done with it. What do I need to do to clear it? So that opens up the courage from like going, okay, let's face this front on. The strength is, okay, opening and asking yourself, what do I need to do to clear this? And that honesty comes from being able to connect into that truth of the situation, that you have the power within you and the potential within you to clear. And this, it doesn't need to be a hard situation. It can be a really simple and quite an awesome exploratory process where you learn more about your own self, and also be able to access that truth of remembering that you have all of the answers within you if you connect in with that intuitive part, which means dropping out of that busy head of yours. Therefore, you can connect in and look at ways to be able to release this. So this is how you can start to work with the full moon, Mercury retrograde, and the ascension process. Now, I do want to be able to give you a little tool that you can work through with this process, and it's something that I use my own self as a way for you to be able to help really tap into these energies from the most constructive space within your own self, from that empowered version of self, but also from that becoming an explorer of what's going on with you, that explorer to be able to learn more and awaken those dormant aspects of self. It's not all about the hard, arduous work. We also open and awaken different parts within ourselves at these given moments. So there's a surrender and releasing element and a renewal and reconnection element when doing this inner work as well. Which helps you be able to access that courage, strength, and honesty within your own self. So it's a beautiful moment, and depending on the perception that you choose to take it on, if you perceive shit's going to be hard, it's going to be hard. If you perceive that there is this explorative, adventurous part within your own self and a level of self-empowerment, you're bringing a different energy to the work that you're already doing. So set the intention within your own self. How do you choose to explore this? Do you want to make this shit hard and, you know, dive in and just keep activating all the deep hurt and the deep pain within you? Or do you want to be able to observe that that is there and choose to let that go, and learn some awesome things along the way? So, hey Elizabeth, how are you, hun? Hey, Jean-Marie. So I wanted to be able to give you an exercise to be able to work with this. Now, when, as I said, with the full moon, Mercury retrograde, and the ascension process all going on, usually what happens is it becomes a little bit of a sensory overload. You know, the full moon brings stuff up into your face. Mercury retrograde wipes you out, which lessens the ability to resist this. And the spiritual ascension process, well, that's just a little bit like Mercury retrograde. So you can feel like you're, you know, fucking being run over by a bus at the time, along with having lots of aches and pains, because the aches and pains that are coming through are all of those memories from those past hurts stuck in your cells that are playing out in your physical body. So there's just like this overwhelming amount of every aspect of self, soul, mind, body, soul, and spirit, all at this time are just being hypersensitive and getting what I call like a really good workout at the moment. So what usually happens is our heart chakra shuts down. As humans, we're designed to, we don't like to be able to look at pain. We don't want to revisit these things. And so therefore we shut our heart chakra down, which means any chakra above your heart shuts off. And usually you will find that your solar plexus chakra will also be completely overwhelmed, because your solar plexus chakra, it always sounds like a mouthful, is how you process the world. So if there's a sensory overload, you're going to store it in that area within your stomach. So you may have felt like all of a sudden you have become aware to just tension and that sitting around in your solar plexus. You may find that you're starting to get like aches and pains in your chest, you know, and you start sitting there not saying anything to anyone, but going like, far out, like, is there something fucking wrong with me? Like, am I having a heart attack? It's very easy to go into. Yes, definitely, honey. That is why your shoulders and arms hurt so much, ultimately, honey. Arms represent holding on too tight, and shoulders are a representation of feeling the weight of the world. Okay, so going back to this really wonderful, awesome thing, and this is something that I've been working with. Now, there's also something I also want to share with you as well, is that when you go to do this work, you are going to feel tension in your body. It is natural. That tension is where you bring awareness to. You're digging through everything, and so your body feels more and more tension. The one thing I want you to be very, very clear with is be okay with the tension in your body, because it's coming up through the cells. So we usually tend to find tension sitting, anywhere from our neck possibly down to here. So we tend to do this, which is contracting in, bringing ourselves in, guarding ourselves and protecting ourselves and shutting down our heart chakra. So unconsciously these kind of things can happen. So we can feel that the tension sits between, just under, below your rib cage up to your neck. And that's all the way around, not just at the front, but also in your back. Because if you're guarding your heart, you're pulling your shoulders in, which is stretching in all the muscles in through your mid back and shoulders. And therefore, like, you usually tend to keep your head down like that. So you cause your shoulders to lift up, so there's tension that sits in your neck. So I want you to be very, very clear to just be okay with the tension. Remind yourself that the tension is releasing all of the old past pains that have been stuck in your cellular memory. Okay, so this exercise that I'm going to share with you is, how do you release that tension? Now, this is not just to do once and once only over the next few days. You may feel that, for myself, as I've been working through some of this stuff, sometimes I've found like 2 or 3 times throughout the day that I've needed to go in and do this, because I've become really aware of that tension. And so for me, when that tension comes up, it's like I can either let that stay in my body, or I can release that. Because if you deny that tension that's going on, that all of those cellular memories are coming up to the surface to be released, and you can either get stuck there and then push them back down purely because you don't know what to do with them, or are aware of why they've been brought into your awareness. Okay, so don't think that it's because you're doing anything wrong. If you don't know something, you don't know it. Okay, but now you will know it. I feel full to the stomach, no appetite as much. Okay, honey, well, that is a representation. As I said, our emotions get stuck in most women store their emotions usually in 2 places, either in their stomach zone or in their neck. And some people can experience it in both, but usually you'll find that you can always sort of tell where's the place where you get stuck. So that feeling fullness is an overwhelm of emotions that are getting trapped within that zone, and so we want to be able to release them. Hey Heather, hey Mustafa, how are you, love? So hey Simon. So the thing that I do want to share with you is one very, very cool exercise, which works with the emotions. It works on releasing and surrendering. It is about letting the tension go from those memory cells in, yeah, that's quite common, Elizabeth, that it can be in both. It's about releasing the tension that is in your physical body that's wanting to be released. It works on being able to honor your truth. What about lower back? Lower back, love, is usually an indication of, depending on where specifically in your lower back, is it just above your hips or below your hips? If it's above your hips, it's usually always to do with money, okay? And it's when I say money, it's about around safety, security, abundance, wealth, and feeling like your foundations are not strong. And if you have a look at everything at the moment, there is some fucking crazy shit ass craziness going on out there in the world with this coronavirus, but I'm not going to get into that because it is not what this visit is about. But there is a whole vibe of craziness out there, so that can really rattle your foundations, hun. So above, so yeah, that will be foundational, be around fears, because around the lower back it's pretty close to the kidney, so the kidneys represent fear. So I would go in and have a look and see what fears have been triggered within you at this point, hun. So, but going back to it, the exercise that I do want to share with you is, how do we release all of this energy? Because as you dive through all of the emotional side of things and the head stuff that's going on and the tension that's going on in your physical body, that's all a huge an accumulation of energy that is getting trapped and stuck, that we want to be able to release and let go of, which definitely works with the surrendering element. So we're just surrendering and choosing to work with that energy that's coming up, but we want to give it a channel in which to be able to release it. So therefore you feel like, oh, I'm doing something really constructive for myself. I'm really honoring what's coming up for myself. And remember, as I said, you may need to do this a few times, because as you deal with one aspect, it could potentially bring up another area, or it might bring up something different. Or surrendering, being able to be really real and raw and honest with what thoughts and feelings are being triggered within you due to what's been ever brought up to you with the full moon. You know, the full moon is one element. Mercury retrograde, the truth, is a different element. The tension in your body is a different element. The spiritual ascension is another element. So you may find that there's more than once that you need to do this exercise. It will be exactly 100%. I'll be honest with you. It's not just to do once and once only. You're going to be working on all of these 4 layers, almost like juggling these balls. But sometimes when you work on one layer, it has this beautiful ripple effect to work through, to clear the energy and other areas that are going on at this point as well. So the fastest way to, not the fastest way, the way in which to be able to do this is we're going to work with the element of reopening our chakra, okay, our heart chakra, and also working with the element of gratitude as too, because most of the times it's so easy to get I'll be really 100% honest here. Most people go, I really want to work on being really connected to my soul. I want to be able to receive all of these amazing things from my soul and the universe, and I'm so open to it. Boom, the moment this stuff comes up, they're like, fuck, I don't want to work on that shit. Where's the cool stuff? Where's the awesome stuff that my soul's going to show me? That's not what I signed up for. I don't want to delve into the depths of that shit. But it's exactly what you said that you wanted to do, which is work on the soul stuff. Well, that's a part of the soul, which is releasing and letting go and becoming more aware of that. You don't just get to pick the good stuff without being able to do, it's about having those polarities. So this is why I say, like, this is a part of that transformation and progressing and transcending, because we don't want to, we want to transform the energy that's coming up with you and dissolve its potency of energetic vibration and frequency within you. So what I mean by that is this technique that I'm going to share with you. Say, for example, a fear has come up. It's triggering all of these memory cells within you. It's bringing up all of this energy and is getting stuck and trapped in your body. What the transformation comes with that awareness, and the dissolving is through this exercise that I'm going to do with you in just a moment, to dissolve that energy from it being harboring all the pain, hurt, fears, doubts, boom, all of that low vibrating stuff, we are transmuting that energy, clearing it so that we can transform the energy and reset it back within our body to be in alignment with the person that you are. So I hope does everyone understand and follow what I'm talking about with this? Okay, if you could just let me know, just going yes, 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 so that you can just let me know that you understand, will be very cool. So when saying that, let's get on with this exercise. So when these things come up to the surface and you've been able to really identify what it is that is coming up for you, I'm just going to use the example of feeling like I'm not good enough. Okay, you've dived deep, and that's the example I'm going to use. Okay, so when you can feel all of that tension and everything within yourself, I want you to close your eyes. We're going to use the breath and our visualization, and then we're also going to introduce gratitude. So you want to close your eyes and you want to focus on your breath. Just breathing in and out. And as you're breathing in and out, I want you to see that your heart chakra goes from being closed to start to open, like a beautiful little portal, okay, in your chest. Now you may see the color green, you may see the color pink, or you may even see a different color. If there's a color that comes up, cool. If there's not, don't worry about it. Just feel that expansion of being opening your heart that was once closed. Okay, once you've got your heart chakra open, or you may just even see just an opening in your chest, know that that is a direct correlation with opening up your heart. Well, then what I want you to do is I want you to breathe in through your nose and breathe in the not good enough. Feel that channel down, back down your throat into that heart chakra. And as you breathe out, you're breathing out that not good enough. So it would be like, but as you're breathing out your mouth, you want to feel it coming out your mouth, but also channeling out through your heart chakra at the same time. So you're honoring the thoughts, feelings, and emotions, the tension, and honoring all of these parts within yourself. And as you're breathing out, you're breathing out all of that low vibrating energy that's attached to that I'm not good enough. Okay, and that way you are channeling it out your body, and you may even find that you feel it coming from the top and the bottom of your body, and it's coming together and through the breath and feeling it come out. There is no right or wrong with this exercise. Okay, so just really tune in to how it feels right for you. As I said, for me, it's like breathing it into my chest and then feeling it come up to my nose, holding it, then intentionally bringing it back down again, because I want to release it out through my heart where it's kept my heart closed, and making that commitment. And as you're releasing it, you're saying, I release myself of my not feeling good enough. And then as you breathe back in, go, thank you, thank you, thank you. We want to have that expression of releasing out through your heart chakra, and as you breathe back in, giving thanks to yourself, expressing that level of gratitude. I am so grateful for myself for doing this journey. I am so grateful for diving in deep. I am so grateful to my soul to bring this into my awareness. I am so grateful for the universe to be working with me. I am so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, to release this low vibrating energy that is no longer my vibration anymore. So you can use your gratitude in any way that you want, but just introduce it. That way you're working with your soul. You're saying thank you to your soul. You're saying thank you to the universe. You're saying thank you to yourself. You're saying thank you for the guidance of this information that's been brought into your awareness while you're surrendering, letting go, dissolving, transcending, transforming. And you will find that you will know when to stop going through this process, because all of a sudden there is a shift that occurs in your mind and body. All of a sudden you might find that your mind feels really light and clear. All of a sudden your chest just flows beautifully, all on its own, rather than this tightened moment. And when you're finished, just sit in that space with your hand over your heart chakra, close your eyes, and then just breathe your energy back into yourself. Just breathing it in and out. Doesn't need to go anywhere. Just breathing it in and out so that it's filling up your body, so it's regenerating your cells and resetting your energy. And then when you're finished, give thanks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then open your eyes and then go about your day. So it's a really, really simple exercise, but one, it's very, very powerful. It's that beautiful moment of being able to just honor what is going on for you and knowing that you are doing something conducive and constructive to understand the gorgeous guidance that's coming through in the energy in your mind, body, soul, and spirit at the moment, but also working from that self-empowerment of being courageous enough to be able to clear things, be courageous enough to confront your truths, be courageous enough to know that there are these tools that you can do to open up your heart and realign your energy and bring you back into this space. You don't need to get trapped in these emotions and this energy that's around. It is there as a guidance tool to be able to help you clear this stuff. And then when you have the full moon, you can go for, and really even embed in that embed that releasing element within your own self by doing amazing rituals, by then being able to go out and burn again that energetic connection, that full commitment of, you don't have to, because you're still doing that through the breath, but if you really want to go in and harness that and do something from a visual representation of being able to write down whatever it is that's being brought up for you and then burn that on the full moon, it's an incredibly powerful way to be able to symbolize the journey that you've just been on, how to harness the energy, but be able to work from your highest potential within your own self rather than being reactive and closing yourself down, because that's so not going to help you. It will create even more problems and distortions and dysfunctions within your own self. So, it's not easy to face these kind of things, but it's definitely not easy to deny them either, because the ramifications of what that does to you internally, mentally, emotionally, and soulfully and spiritually shuts you down. What we want to do is we want to open you up to your highest potential, because the other one causes you to shrink and hide and stay stuck in the darkness. This is that moment of working with the light that is within you to be able to access your truth, to be able to access your highest potential and step into that space of self-empowerment. Now, self-empowerment doesn't mean you're like, fuck yeah, I'm all over this shit. Self-empowerment also works from that space of going, I'm actually really nervous doing this, but I'm gonna work through this. The nerves are only there because this is something new, and I want to do these things that are clearing myself and moving into that vulnerability place within our own self. Definitely, this exercise is to be done as necessary. That's dead right. It is like self-cleaning of the soul. Definitely. Definitely what we ignore always comes back. Yep, what we resist persists. And the more we resist it, the more it gets louder and it gets stronger, and the emotions and thoughts become deeper. So that pain that you first originally had, the more you deny it, the more times you look at it, you get deeper into the hurt and pain. You get deeper into the patterns that you do, which is hide, close yourself off, until eventually you become like a sultana, and you're just like a fragment of yourself. Like if you think about a grape is fluid and it's full and it's juicy. Well, the opposite, like a raisin is a grape, but it's been dehydrated. So that's the difference between when you are working in flow, you become the grape, and when you are resisting and denying and not working with these parts, you become the raisin. So you shrink into a form of yourself. I think our personal truth, I think the thing that scares most people when exploring these parts of ourselves is old paradigms that we I can't tell you how many people I have spoken to over the last 4 years that I've been doing this, and even previously, when I had a clinic and working one face to face with people, how many people that still have old thought processes that think if I start working on myself, I'm going to open up that Pandora's box, and I'm going to be really confronted. Or, God forbid, I might open up a doorway to a different galactic universal sphere out there, and then all of a sudden I'm going to have dead people walking in and annoying the shit out of me, or people tapping me, or ghosts hanging around my house. And that's why I think people still are afraid about exploring these parts, because of those old conceptual ideas that they have towards doing this soul work. So therefore it can be really confronting, because the moment they think of soul work, they naturally connect into those old conceptualizations around doing that inner work, rather than being able to understand that this soul work is about allowing you to work with your light so that you can become more radiant, so that you can keep shining, so you can step into your power, so that you can unlock your own potential, so that you can get to know yourself on so many very layers of self, because it's amazing how many lies that we put and embed into ourselves as a way to be able to deny what is going on within our own self. So there are all these things that comes up when people think about soul work. No worries, Tracy. Thanks so much, honey. It was great to see you. And so I'm going to leave that there for everyone. If you have any questions when going through and doing this exercise, then please feel free to write a comment below. If anything comes up for you, or you just want more clarity around how to go through and do this exercise. But remember, always remember to follow your own intuition, your own soul guidance that comes through. This is just a process that I do that I feel like will really help you to be able to channel this energy in the most constructive way, to be able to be working with it, but letting it go so it doesn't get stuck and trapped in our physical body, and bring yourself back to working with that highest potential of self. So thank you everyone that has joined me today. Thank you for the hearts, the thumbs up, the smiley faces. It's been fabulous doing this. Please feel free to share this so we can get this message out, so other people know how to be able to do this exercise. And as always, have a fabulous weekend. Much love to you all, and take care.